week 3 of the training that we have. And what we've done is we've created a 52-week training so that we can cover all the stuff that, that you're going to need as an agent, okay? So week number 3 is going to be on sphere of influence. Now, some people call it center of influence, sphere of influence. Bottom line is, it's working with people that you know, okay? At the end of the day, it's really what it is. So I'm going to use my phone to change slides. If you don't know yet, there's going to be a training, you guys, that's going to be happening in LAX next week on January 23rd to 25th. It's by Tom Ferry. Tom really embraces technology, and he teaches you how to use a lot of modern applications when marketing and getting clients, okay? He's a little bit different than his father, which is Mike, right? So we're going to start talking about working with the people that you do know, and I'm going to tell you why. So first slide, or second slide actually, CEO mindset, okay? Number 1. You want to make sure that you give before you receive, okay? And this is very, very important because it's really easy to say, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to talk to everybody I know and I'm going to ask them for business and they're going to give business to me, right? So you want to make sure that you come from a position of where you're actually giving value, you're actually offering something. If you volunteer for a school or PTA, you feel more comfortable when you are talking to people about your profession when you've given stuff back. Does that make sense? So it's really important that you give before you receive, number 1. Number 2, the reason you want to work with people that you know is because really there's a low startup cost, okay? It doesn't cost you any money to talk to people that you already know, yes or no? Right. No, right? It doesn't cost any money, okay? So the startup cost is very, very little to none, okay? There's 0 acquisition cost, people that like you, people that trust you, okay? The tools, what are you going to need? You're going to need a phone and you're going to need your mouth. Okay? It's not like some of the other things that we've been teaching you. Some of the other things that we've been teaching you are going to require you to purchase services. You're going to need, auto dialers. You're going to need headsets. You're going to need fees and dues to be able to go out and show properties. You're going to need a super key. Here, all you need is your phone and your mouth. Okay? It's really, really important that you understand that. This is why I'm suggesting that for everybody who's just getting started, right? If you're just getting your license, the first people that you want to go out there and you want to talk to are the people that you know. Okay? That's the very, very first. And I'm going to teach you how to be tactful when you do that. Okay? Now, this is also immediate business, okay? Because when you're going out there and you're doing some of the other things that we've been teaching you, right? When you're prospecting and you're calling people, if it's not an expired listing and it's not a for sale by owner, right? Most of the other stuff is business that's going to take some time to incubate. It's going to take some time because you're going to talk to someone and they may not make a move for the next 6 to 8 months. But when you're talking to people that know you, that like you and trust you, right? They may not make a move right now, but they might be able to refer you to somebody that is going to make a move right now. I hope that makes sense, okay? So it's now business, all right? Now, 7 times factor, what does that mean? Okay, it's very important that you remind your friends, your family, people that know you, people that like you, people that trust you. Hi. It's really important that you remind these people about what you do. Okay, and I want you to think about this. How many times does it take for you to see a commercial before you actually go out and make a purchase? On average, you think?
10. More.
10? So the industry says it's about 7 times. So it's about 7 times for you to see something before you actually decide that you're going to go out there and you're going to purchase it, right? Now, if in real estate, for some reason, people think that they can go tell someone, oh, I'm a real estate agent, oh, I'm a real estate broker, oh, I'm in the real estate industry. They think they can say it a couple of times and then they're automatically going to get business, okay? That's not how it works, okay? With your sphere of influence, you're going to want to make contact with them and you're going to want to remind them, a minimum of 4 times a year verbally. Okay? A minimum of 7 times using all the tools that we're talking about, right? But it's really important that you remind them on a regular basis. Now, don't just assume that just because you're connected with somebody on social media, right? That, oh, they're going to see all your wonderful posts and all your posts about the houses that you're looking at and all the posts about you getting your license. Don't assume that, especially now with all the stuff that Facebook is doing and the pay-to-play stuff, right? I don't know if you guys have noticed it lately, but all these people are posting about the algorithm and how it interacts with me, and they're posting fake questions about, option A or option B, which one should I choose? Are you guys seeing that on Facebook a lot?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Listen, I don't have a problem with people wanting to use Facebook as a tool to market themselves, but really what they're doing is, it's fake interaction. They're simply doing that because Facebook's new algorithm shows people's posts a lot more when they see that people are interacting with that post. So the only reason they're asking you, which do you prefer, my card A or my card B, is because they're hoping that people interact so that it shows up higher when people are looking on their Facebook screen. Okay? That's the reality of it. And really what Facebook wants is they want you to spend money boosting posts, okay? So if you're not doing that stuff and you're not doing fake interaction and you're not trying to get interaction from people, then you can't assume that people are going to see that on social media. Don't assume that just because you're posting that stuff, everyone's seeing it and everyone's going to remember that you're a real estate agent, real estate broker, loan originator, because that's not necessarily true. All right? Now, people will help you grow your business if you ask, okay? If you ask, all right? Have you guys ever heard the statement, a closed mouth doesn't get fed? Right? Okay. So you have to get good at speaking to the people that know you, that like you, that trust you already, and learning how to ask them for either their business or for the business of people that they might know. It's very important that you learn how to get comfortable with this. All right? Also, you know a lot more people than you think. Okay? This is huge, okay? When you sit down and you really start to think about it, you know a lot of people. You just have to go and put them down on a sheet of paper and make a list of everybody, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, all right? People do business with people they like, right? And as long as they know you and like you and trust you, you've got your foot in the door, yes or no? Yep. Right? It's important. Your clients, just so you know, are everyone else's clients, okay? That's huge. So just because you have a friend who you think is going out there and going to buy a home, doesn't mean that they aren't being approached by other people as well. All right? So your clients are everyone else's clients. And if you don't approach them first, right, there's a good chance that they might work with somebody else. And I got to tell you that there is no feeling more horrible in the world than showing up to a friend or a family member's house for a family activity and seeing a for sale sign on there from somebody else other than me. Oh, man. Okay? Because what that did was it indicated to me that I didn't voice my profession enough to that person, right, in order to represent them. That's really, because at the end of the day, whose fault is it? Yours. It's your own fault, right? Okay, so you got to make sure that you approach them before anybody else. And then you also have to keep in mind that 70% of the clients out there are going to work with the first person they come into contact with, okay? Now that's good and bad, okay? That's good because if you can get to them first before anybody else, you've got a 7 out of 10 shot of getting that business, all right? That's also bad because that means that if you don't do your job and get to them first, they could potentially be working with an agent who cares less about them and is more interested in their own self-interest. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Right? So it's not only important that you get to them first just because you want the business, it's important to them that it's important to you and to them that you get to them first so that way they're well taken care of. Yes or no? Yes. Yes. Right? That's huge. Huge. Okay? Now, we're also going to talk about past clients. Past clients are considered your sphere of influence. So anybody that you've worked with in the past, for the veteran agent, those are your sphere of influence as well. Okay, so that's the CEO mindset, right? When you're working with sphere of influence and past clients. All right, now, here's what I want you to do to get started working with your sphere of influence. Number one, I want you to make a list, okay? I want you to sit down, pull out an old-fashioned, you guys know what a piece of paper is and a pen? Right? Okay?
Heard of them.
You know, it's funny. You know, my kids are used to doing everything on tablets and laptops these days, and Chromebooks, right? So, and they do use the binders. But when they came to our office here, my son was asking me for line paper yesterday. I'm like, babe, we don't have any line paper here. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to make a list, get a sheet of paper, and start writing out people's names, okay, and their numbers. I'm going to tell you that it's not the same thing as having it on your cell phone. Now, back in the day, we used to say having it on your Rolodex, okay? There's no Rolodexes anymore, okay? So now you've got your phone, okay? What I want you to do is to sit down and really write them out. If you want to write them out and then transfer them to an Excel spreadsheet, that's entirely fine too. If you can find a way to export them from your cell phone and then print them, you know, it's entirely up to you. All I'm telling you is it's much easier to get the list out and start looking at it and working at it, okay? So make sure you get a list, all right? Don't rely just on an email list, okay? Make sure you get it down and put everybody that you know. Okay, even people that you don't necessarily know are in your phone, but you know who they are. The gentleman that does my dry cleaning, right? Or the gentleman that fixes my car. Or the gal that watches our children on the weekends, right? Something of that nature. You want to make sure that you put them all down on that list. Here's the other thing. I don't want you to prejudge, okay? Don't prejudge anybody, all right? Some people will, some people won't. So what? Next. Okay, I don't know if you've ever heard that statement, okay? And here's the other thing. Those you think can, they can't. Those you think can't, they can. And what do I mean by that? The people that you think are going to go out there and they're going to be your biggest supporter, and you think they're going to give you the most clients and they're going to give you the most recommendations, won't. And then the people that you think would never in the history of this world ever refer a client to you are going to be your biggest champions. Okay? So my point is, don't prejudge somebody. Don't put somebody down on that list just because you think they're not gonna cooperate with you, or just because you think you had a falling out with someone and they're not gonna help you out with that. If you guys are friends and you know them, put them down on that list. Okay? Don't let technology shackle you down, right? And it sounds weird because technology helps us, but believe it or not, having the phone and looking them up and trying to find their contact information and then getting a hold of them is not as simple as just having the list and picking up the phone and calling. Okay, trust me. All right. Don't spend so much time working on your list that you don't approach them. Okay, this is important too, because I've seen some people that have gone out there and they've made this list of 1,000 names and it's impressive and it looks fantastic and they've ironed it out and then they put it on a frame, a gold foil frame, and they put it on their desk and it looks, and they kiss it every morning and it's beautiful. Okay, it's a great list. It's a fantastic list. Okay, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good the list looks if you don't pick up the phone and start calling some of these people. Okay, so number one, don't spend so much time on the list that you don't approach them. All right, I'm going to give you some tidbits on tech. If you use LinkedIn and you've been good about connecting with people on LinkedIn, I've been connecting with people on LinkedIn for years now, since before it was even Microsoft owned it. Okay, so right now I got probably about 15,000 connections on LinkedIn. All right, believe it or not, you can download the whole database of LinkedIn that you've connected with, and it will have all of their contact information, their name, their email, and their phone number, so long as they've made it public on there. Okay, that's huge. Okay, so you can download it. Facebook doesn't allow you to do that. All right. Now I want you to just consider this. If you have a list of about 300 names of people that know you, that like you, and trust you, 300. Okay, and you put them all down there, and you've spent the year going out there, and you've spent this year talking to them, and only 10% of them actually refer you to somebody or use you as their agent. Okay. If you have 300 names and 10% of them do business with you in some way, shape, or form, that's 30 transactions in real estate. 10%, okay? Now, if the average, and again, we're in California here because this video is being shown everywhere, but if the average commission in California is going to be anywhere from $8,500 up to $10,000, and you've done 30 transactions, how you doing? Good. Not doing too bad, right? Now, let's just say that, you know, really instead of 10%, all you did was 1%. 1%, okay? 1%, that's still 3 transactions. That's not too bad for working your normal sphere of influence and talking to people that know you, that like you, and trust you. This is why it's very important that you start talking to these people. But what happens is, a lot of us, especially the newer ones, a lot of us don't want to go out there and they don't want to approach these people. They don't want to approach the people that they know. Why?
It's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable, rejection, fear, right? There's a lot of different factors that come into play, but I want you to consider something. Right? If you've ever owned your own business, and again, the psychology is reverse in real estate, but if you've ever owned your own business, if you've ever started a shop, a restaurant, a flower shop, a mechanics, whatever it might be, right? If you've ever owned your own business, what do? You talk about it, you have a light grand opening, then you have a grand opening, and who do you invite to that kind of stuff?
Everyone you know.
Everyone you know. But then you get in real estate, and all of a sudden everybody wants to be secret ninja agent. They don't want anybody to know that they're working in real estate. Okay? It's bizarre. All right? All I'm telling you to do is to do what comes naturally. You would be doing this anyway. If you started a restaurant, why wouldn't you do it for your own business when you work in real estate? Okay? You are your own business. Okay? You are the CEO of your own company within a company. You got to keep that in mind. It's important that you go out there and treat it that way and start talking to people. Okay? All right. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, next thing you want to do, you want to make sure that you call the people on your list. This is very important. You got to approach the people that you know. And we'll talk about the script in a little bit. Okay, number one, don't try to shoot the breeze first. Okay? You try to shoot the breeze first, and then let them know that you're going to talk about, you know, real estate or about business. All of a sudden, they're going to feel like, you know, they've been bamboozled. Okay? It's important that you're up front. Okay? So what I normally do when I call someone is I'll say, hey, John or Jane, listen, it's Paul. You know, can I just steal 2 minutes from you really, really quick? And then I get right to the point. Okay? It's important that you do that. Not to be rude, but just so that they don't feel like you're just trying to sneak it in. Okay? Because nobody likes that. That's very disingenuous. Let them know it's a business call. Know your script. okay? And I'll cover the script in a little bit. Now, if you haven't spoken to them in a while, it's better if you own up to it, okay? In other words, don't think that you can call them, right, and just be like, hey, can you refer people over to me? It's not going to work, okay? It's very important that you say something acknowledging it to the effect of, hey, John or Jane, listen, I know it's been a while since we've spoken. That's my fault. I dropped the ball. Here's why I'm calling. If you own up to it, right, it's a lot easier to have a conversation versus, hey, you know, it's been a while since we've talked. Whose fault was it? Does that make sense? Okay, so own up to it. All right? Now, over the phone, sphere of influence script. Hi, John. Listen, it's Paul. Can I steal 2 minutes? Listen, I'm sorry. I know we haven't spoken since last June. That's my fault. I wanted to catch up with you real quick. I don't know if you heard or not, but I got my real estate license. I just joined a company. I'm working in real estate. I've been working in real estate for the last 3 to 4 years, whatever it is that you want to say, and I wanted to see if you could help me out. Okay? Now remember, for you guys taking pictures of this, I'm putting the slides up on our site, so you don't have to worry about all that. Okay? Okay, so why do you think I want you to say I wanted to see if you could help me out? Why am I approaching them from that perspective?
Throw the ball in their court.
Right? But why else? There's another reason too. Okay, going back to what I said earlier, people that know you and like you and trust you want to help you. Okay? And then number 2, they're going to be relieved when they find out that you're not asking to borrow money. Okay? And trust me. Okay? So, I wanted to see if you could help me out. Okay? Because automatically they don't know where you're going with this. Gasp. Right? Who do you know that's looking to buy or sell their home in the next 90 days? Does anybody come to mind? Can you think of anybody? Right? Now, the majority of the time they're going to say what?
No.
No. Okay, everybody's going to say no. That's the knee-jerk response, right? I've covered this before, but the minute you walk into a store, even if you know you're going to buy something, when a salesperson comes up to you and says, can I help you, what do we say? No. Just looking, right? That we all do it. Okay, so don't take offense to it when they say no immediately, right? That's a normal response. We all do it. We're all guilty of it, okay? So does anybody come to mind? No, you know, nobody comes to mind. Okay, no, terrific. Listen, I appreciate you taking the time to think about it. Tell me. What's the next slide? I'm sorry. Here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to mail you out a few of my business cards. If anyone comes to mind or mentions that they're thinking about making a move, can I count on you to give them that card or give them my information? Okay? Now, what are you doing?
You're getting their buy-in.
You're getting them to commit.
Yeah.
Right? Can I count on you to just give them my information? I promise I'll take care of them. And if anything comes out of it, you know, I'd love to invite you out to dinner. I promise I won't forget about you either. Okay? What's your mailing address? You get their mailing address. Oh, and by the way, when do you plan on making a move? Okay? You're going to ask. All right? When do you plan? And typically, what's their response going to be? Never. Never. Terrific. And then you move, you move right on. Right? Okay? Now, here are the takeaways. Number 1, you got to get good at asking for the referral. Okay? Number 2, you have to get their current address. Number 3, you want to make sure that you ask them if you can count on them. Right? Because what that does is it puts a little bit of added responsibility on their lap. And when they get those business cards in the mail, right, and you mail it to them or you hand deliver it to them, right, when they get that, they feel almost a sense of responsibility. Right? So can I count on you? And then you want to ask if they're planning on making a move. Okay? You can't hang up the phone without asking them. All right? Because the last thing you want to find out is, well, you never asked. Right? Okay? When do you plan on making a move? Then what I want you to do is follow up in 3 to 5 days to make sure that they got the business cards. Okay? Just follow up. Hey, did they arrive? Unless, of course, you went and dropped them off. If you went and dropped them off, no, right? But make sure you follow up. And then make it a point to call everybody that you know at least once per quarter. Okay? That list, that same list, at least once per quarter. Going back to what we said in the initial slide, it takes a person a minimum of 7 times for them to hear a message before it actually impacts them and they make a move or a buying decision. Okay? So you have to make sure that you contact these people, all right? Okay, next slide.
I have a question, Paul. Do you mind? Is that okay?
Sure.
For someone like in my situation, I haven't taken the exam yet, but I'd like to get started on this. I don't have business cards yet. What do you suggest?
Okay, so really what I would start doing then is start shooting out some emails or just making contact with them or building that list. And then if they have the referral, start working with them. Okay. Now if it's a buyer, we can start working with them now, assuming that by the time your license does kick in, remember a buyer could take anywhere from 4 to 6 months, right? But start working on it now because you don't want to find out that there were missed opportunities that you could have worked with while you were taking the exam. Okay? All right. Now let's talk about past clients. Okay? Past clients. So if you are a veteran agent, you have past clients. Okay? You always have past clients. Now, even if you're not a veteran agent, if you were involved in another business, then you have past clients. Okay? If you were ever a business owner or people that you work with. All you really need is a legitimate reason to call your past clients. This is also your sphere of influence. Okay? What are some of those reasons? Number one, anniversary of when they purchased the property. Right? So if they purchased the property, you know, a year later, you know what I used to do is I would actually go and visit them on the anniversary. Nobody ever thinks about the anniversary of when they bought the house. Okay? But if you show up a year later, right, and you have like a $5 Starbucks, $10 Starbucks gift card and say, hey, happy anniversary, I just wanted to say this was the day that you purchased the home a year ago, 5 years ago, whatever it might be, that's pretty impressive, right? Okay? It shows that you care. A 6-month checkup into the transaction. So if you had a recent transaction that just closed, it's a good idea to call them 6 months later just to see how they're doing, just to see how the home is holding up, all right? Their home warranty. Okay, so if the home warranties are going to expire, it's a good idea to make sure that you have a copy of the home warranty so that you can go give it to them. So remember that, you know, they only last about a year. A year later, you show up with the home warranty and you say, hey, look, I just want you to know it's gonna expire. It's probably a good idea to extend. Oh, and by the way, is there anything that I can help you with? Oh, and by the way, do you know of anybody that's thinking about making a move in the next 60 to 90 days? Oh, and by the way, when do you plan on making a move again? Right? Okay. You want to, again, reach out to them a minimum of 7 times using all the tools. 4 times by phone, and then I'm going to give you 3 other ways to get a hold of them, okay? All right, next slide. In person, all right? We talked about this. Give before you receive. Very important that you do that. You know, volunteer, participate, okay? It's easier to get business from people when they see that you've actually given before asking, okay? So you want to give before you receive, volunteer. Invite somebody out to coffee, lunch, etc. Okay? Look, you know, I'm not suggesting that you go out there and invite everybody that you know out to lunch. That's going to get very expensive very fast. I had one person, I remember, you know, must have been 18, 19, that I invited out to lunch that I knew, and they chose the place, and they chose a lobster place over in Beverly Hills. I was broke, didn't have any money. I remember having to call Robert, asking him to come bring a credit card because I didn't have the money to pay for that lunch. Okay? So, you know, everything that I'm sharing with you, there is nothing that I haven't necessarily gone through. So make sure that, you know, you invite them, and coffee is probably the best and cheapest and most inexpensive way to have that personal contact. And all you're going to do is you're going to invite them out and you're going to ask about them. Okay? Everybody's favorite subject is who? Or what? Themselves, right? Their favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? Okay? So, when you sit down with them, trust me, you ask enough questions, unless they're a complete narcissistic pig, they will eventually ask about you. And when they do ask about you, that's an invitation for you to start talking about what you're doing, okay? So, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you what? Care. So, the other opportunity is to attend networking events. Okay? They're using meetup.com, checking Facebook events, going on Groupon experiences. There are a lot of other different ways to build, you know, your sphere of influence through networking events like BMI, Toastmasters, and these are all functions that you can get into relatively inexpensively. Chamber of Commerce, join these organizations and continue to network and continue to hand out cards and continue to meet people in person so that way your sphere of influence is constantly growing. Okay? Next slide. All right. In-person events, okay, that you can host. I call them client appreciation events. All right? These are not intended to break the bank. These are events that you can host at relatively low cost. The whole idea here is to get together with your clients. Okay, that's the whole idea. And so the truth is, you can go to this website. It's called timeanddate.com/holidays/fun. And if you go to that website, they have a whole list of special, not necessarily holidays, but special days. There's Squirrel Appreciation Day. There's Donut Day. There's Chili Cook-Off Day. There's a whole bunch of days that most people don't even know about. What I would suggest is that once a quarter, you host a client appreciation event And what you do is you essentially, for very little to no money, find a place. Theoretically, you could host it in the office, or you could even host it in your own home if you'd like to. I know that there's some restaurants that will let you use their conference room locally in South Pasadena. There's Carol's that you can go and you can just borrow the conference room area in the back. Some Denny's have that as well, if you don't want to do it at the office or at your home. And what you can do is invite people over. You know, you could. I know that we had one of our agents here. His name was Grant, and his whole team. What they did was they hosted a donut day on National Donut Day, and they had each of them bring a dozen donuts. And then what they did was they invited all of their friends and their family to come participate in the wide array of donuts. So the truth is, there's a lot of small things, small activities, small client appreciation days that you can, events that you can host, and just invite people over so that way they can learn a little bit more about what you do in a casual environment, and it's just another opportunity for you to speak to people, again, without having to break the bank. Okay? Be creative, use it as a tool to get people to come together, and again, try to host one per quarter. Okay, so working your sphere of influence, right, when you haven't been able to get a hold of them via phone. If you've reached out to them by the phone and they haven't responded, the next best thing is to start reaching out to them using all of the other social media and mediums that are made available. Number one, text them a video message, okay? Send them a message making sure that you include their name. In other words, you can't just create one generic video message that you want to send to everybody. Yes, it takes a little bit longer doing it this way, but it's much more personal and they know that you're speaking to them. Get a video message on your mobile phone, send it out. You can send it through text. You can use that same video message. You can send it through Facebook Messenger. You can send it through Instagram Messenger. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it, but you want to make sure that if you can't get a hold of them on the phone, then at least shoot them over a video message. The other thing that you can do is you can use BombBomb to send them a video email. Now, I know that in the beginning I had a lot of hesitations about sending people video emails, and I was worried about the way I look, and I was worried about the way I sounded. But at the end of the day, the truth is they're really only going to look at it for just a few seconds, and the reality is most people don't have that much time in their life to sit there and critique your video email message or your video text message that you've sent over to them. So I wouldn't worry about it. The key here is consistency over quality and just sending out that message, right? The idea here is just to reach out to them on a regular basis, okay? So make it personal. You can email them that message. You can message them on Facebook and Instagram. And again, you can also do it on LinkedIn, all right? There are also text messages that you can send as well, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So, text messages. If you're going to use text messages, which is fine, you know, in this day and age, it's very common that we all communicate through text messages. So some of the shorter messages that you could send that have proven successful and that have initiated a response have been messages like this. Hi, John. I wanted to ask you a favor. When can I steal 2 quick minutes to chat? Right? Hi, Jane. I need your help with something. When can I steal 2 quick minutes to chat? Now, the idea here is to keep them curious enough to where they're engaged in their response, and they respond, excuse me. But more importantly, it also sounds like you're asking them for a favor. And again, they don't know where you're going with this. So it's going to elicit some type of a response. They're going to want to know what's up, really. So those are 2 short and simple messages that you could use. Once they respond and say, sure, what's going on, what's up, how can I help? The next message is going to be something to the effect of, I'm sure that you know by now, I've got my real estate license, I've started my real estate career, and I started working with a new company. I'm a real estate agent, if you haven't figured it out yet, whatever it may take, and I wanted to see when I might be able to steal 2 minutes just to talk to you a little bit about what I'm doing, right? Or something to that effect, okay? Gratitude. All right, this is very, very important, okay? So, every time someone you know refers you a client, whether that lead turns into something or not, whether that lead responds to you or you reaching out to them or not, I want to make sure that the person sending over the referral or making that referral to you understands how appreciative we really are about them sending that contact over to us. So the way it works is if someone refers a client over to me, immediately I'm going to shoot them over a quick $5 Starbucks gift card. Now, in the past I used to mail them, but these days with the mobile applications, you could easily send an electronic gift card, right, over a text message with the new iPhones, and I think with the Android Pay as well. So the truth is, it's not necessarily the quality of the lead that determines me sending it out. It's just the mere fact that they did that gesture and sent me the lead. I'm immediately going to send over a small, real quick Starbucks card just so they can go get a cup of coffee as a thank you to them for making that referral over to me. Okay. Now, every time there's a milestone with the referral, I'm going to acknowledge it. Okay, so they send me the referral, let's say it doesn't go anywhere, I'm still going to shoot them over an electronic gift card, right? They send me a referral and you know what, I'm making progress, I'm actually showing them homes, or I had an opportunity to meet with them in person. I'm going to send them a quick text message, hey, thanks John or Jane for sending that referral over to me. You know, I just finished meeting with them, they're really excited about the process. You know, thank you, here's a quick Google Play card, Google Play electronic gift card so that you can watch a movie on me. Rent them a small movie. The movie might cost about $4.99 on Google Play, and you could send that as a gift, right? Again, it's not the size of the gift card that really counts, it's just you acknowledging what they did and then keeping them a part of the entire story, right? So, let's say they submit an offer. At this point, it's been about 3 times now that I've reached out to the person that sent me that referral. Hi, John or Jane, listen, I'm so excited to let you know that we just finished submitting some offers. I'm sure one of those offers is going to get accepted. Oh, and by the way, here's a $5 gift card to Spotify. Listen to this song on me. You send it over to them, right? It could be iTunes, whatever it might be, right? The minute they open escrow. Hi, John or Jane, listen, guess what? We just opened escrow. I'm so excited about the fact that that's going to be their new home. This time I'm going to shoot them over a $10 gift card to wherever it might be, right? Electronic gift card. Close of escrow. Now I'm going to call that client up. Hey, John or Jane, listen, I'm so excited about the fact that we just closed escrow. Your friends and our friends and my clients are now homeowners. And listen, just as a token of my appreciation, what I would really like to do is I'd like to take you and your family out, just as a token of my appreciation, right? And then you invite them out, you bring your family, you go with them. Now, theoretically, if you could get all parties involved, that would be fantastic. And the best thing to do is typically to go to those big, large tables like a Benihana's or something to that effect, where everybody can sit around the area and everybody can talk to each other. That's probably the most comfortable environment to be in. But the key here is to go out there and actually invest time. I mean, it's really easy to just send somebody, you know, a gift basket. But if you spend time with them, right? Time is our most precious commodity. And if you invest time with them and you go out with them and you bring your family and you show them that you care, that speaks volumes, okay? And it's very important that you reward the person for making that referral just as much as you reward the client for having them entrust you with what is the largest financial investment of their life, really, okay? The financial decision of their life. So it's very important that we demonstrate gratitude. Gratitude towards the person making the referral and gratitude towards the client for entrusting us with that business, okay? All right. And this is just a sample of some of the different screenshots that they have on the iPhone, for instance, where you can send Starbucks gift cards electronically. You pay through Apple Pay. I'm sure that there's an Android version of that as well, but it has never been easier to send someone electronic gift cards that they can utilize with their phone or with their QR codes. Next slide. All right, so this is our final slide. Just on a side note, if you are a brand new agent, right, and I remember when I was brand new, one of the reasons that I was very hesitant about going out and approaching my sphere of influence was mainly because I was concerned that people did not see me as a real estate expert. In fact, I got my license at the age of 18, so you know, when I went to go talk to my neighbors, the truth was they didn't see me as a real estate practitioner. No, instead they saw me as the kid that broke their window a few years back, right, with the baseball. So the truth is that if you're brand new and you're just getting licensed, regardless of your age, there's going to be some hesitancy because you're afraid, and as was I, of what people are going to think think about you, and they're not going to give you perhaps a level of respect that you think you should have in this profession. The next thing that you can do is you can find a veteran agent that you can work with, right? Partner up with a veteran agent, and you basically let your contact, your client, your family, your friend know that, hey, listen, don't worry. I know I just got my license. I understand that. But the truth is, I'm working with one of the best of the, and he or she is going to be walking us through this entire transaction. You don't know how lucky we are to have this person helping me, mentoring me, molding me, but at the same time, working on this transaction for you. And I'm excited about the possibility of working with you, and I'm just as excited about having this person work side by side with me as well. How does that sound versus not going out there and talking to your sphere of influence and then finding out 4 to 6 months later that they ended up working with another agent because we were too scared about our past, right? Versus actually talking to them about the possibility. Okay? So that's my recommendation. If you're not reaching out to your sphere of influence because you're a little concerned about what they're going to think about you, partner up with a veteran agent, work with a veteran agent, lean on the successes of the veteran agent, lean on the reputation of the veteran agent, and make sure that you guys work that transaction together. Because keep in mind, again, your clients are everyone else's clients, and it's your job, it's your duty to get a hold of your sphere of influence before someone else does so that you can take better care of it.